Um, so why do I bring these people up? Why am I showing you this video? Because the informal economy in Nigeria and in many countries around the world is larger than the formal economy. The statistics are that 60% of the gross domestic product of Nigeria is made in the informal sector and not in the formal sector. So that means that the informal sector produces about $125 billion each year in Nigeria alone. And if you look at where people actually work, the mass of people, the numbers are even higher. It's probably 85 to 90% of the people in Nigeria work in the informal sector, which means to me that Montserrat Aro, selling 13 years old, selling water on the street, is more important in an aggregate way to the future of Nigeria than Shell oil. Because in an aggregate, there's more money being generated by the Montserrat Aros of Nigeria than there is by Shell oil, at least for the gross domestic product of Nigeria. And we tend to look at these people as abstractions and look at the informal economy as this horrible thing. But the informal economy is regulating the development of the city of Lagos, and that's how Lagos is developing. And so taking you back to the original shot, the establishing shot of this very, very, very short snapshot of Lagos, video snapshot of Lagos, was a gigantic marketplace called Oshodi. And it's something that when you first go there, you can't believe it. It looks like it cannot even function. There's buses and cars and people and kiosks, and they're selling fabric and meat and biscuits and everything. It's just this huge jumble of everything. But the more that you go there, and when I first went there, I could hardly see anything. It was so overwhelming, I didn't know how to look at it. But you go there over and over, and you see the patterns in it, that there are regular places that the buses stop, that the cars do move just very slowly, that in fact, in the middle of all that madness, a train comes through several times a day, and the people just pick up their kiosks, and the train passes, and then they put their kiosks back down. Lagos is a city that's full of these self-created nodes of market activity. And these are the engine of Lagos's economic development. These are the reason why 3,000 people a day leave the rural area of Nigeria and come to Lagos. So Lagos is growing by 1 million people a year. And the projections are that that is going to continue. So from my standpoint, the way forward in a city like Lagos is not to look at it and tear your hair out and say this is a really horrible place and everything's so chaotic and it's polluted and it's really weird. It's to look at the opportunities that the informal economy presents. These are self-regulating mechanisms that, yeah, they're haphazard and they could be more, for lack of a better word, formalized, but they can be worked with. And figuring out how to interact with the informal sector in the same way that Labius Woods was saying, figuring out how to interact with the squatter communities or slums of the world is the way forward for these kinds of places, Lagos and many of the other megacities of the developing world. So for my new work, I spent 2 years living in shanty towns and squatter communities to write Shadow Cities that Brian so kindly mentioned. And now I'm spending the coming 2 years going to places to investigate the informal economy. What I've discovered also is that many multinational businesses are making their money through the informal economy. And I'll give you one example from Lagos, mobile phones. The mobile phone companies came into Nigeria thinking that they were going to do what the mobile phone companies here do. They're wholly owned, branded stores, you know, Singular, Verizon, T-Mobile, right? And they'll sell packages. But that wasn't what the people wanted. That wasn't what they could afford. So what the mobile phone companies are doing is they make 99% of their money by selling airtime. Not the phone. People buy their phones from whoever they can get a phone from. It's all GSM, and you buy a phone and you can put in whatever services SIM card that you want. What they sell are what's called recharge cards, time on the phone. And who sells those recharge cards? Little kiosks on every street corner, informal merchants. So all of the profits of these big mobile phone companies is built on these unregistered, unlicensed, informal merchants who are selling the recharge cards. They're buying them in bulk at a discount from the mobile phone company and selling them for face value. And that's the increment is their profit. So there's a huge amount of money being generated there for extremely formal companies that are listed on the stock market and that everyone, both in Nigeria and indeed for some of these multinational companies around the world, really respects. But it's all built on the informal sector. So there's already, you know, the corporations are already harnessing the informal sector. So I'm looking to see whether there are ways that government can be promoting the informal sector to move these economies forward. And I guess I'll stop on that note and take your questions if you have any.